here for our first match with quote-unquote average burn. Sand it's good but clunky, so I think I'm going to mulligan. Sand's a little bit better. Back, I guess Rift Bolt for now. So the reason I put that hand back is it's clunky and you need to get on the board early if you're going to get on the board. I'm calling it average burn because it's the aggregate burn list from Frank Karsten's most recent article talking about the modern metagame, which we'll have a slightly bigger discussion about it on the main MTG Nexus channel. Looking at mainly Scam being the top deck in the format. Not that anybody's surprised there, but we're putting it to 10. We're up against Crashing Footfalls. So opponent goes to 7 here. Okay. So what they do have Dead Gun. Okay. Dead Gun confirmed. Pass, hold up the fetch land. Good news is they can't force a negation us this turn. The bad news is during our turn they can force a negation us. So this will put 10 power on the battlefield. Well, temporarily at least. Pitching the basic, push the red life total a little bit. It goes to 1. Sure. One of the worst possible draws in the deck besides the land. Okay. Well, I think you should probably attack here. Okay. Fortunately, not much you can do when you draw a brick and brick, so. Yeah, that'll do it. Alright, you definitely want Chalice, you definitely want Exquisite Firecraft, Deflecting Palms, and okay, maybe. Path doesn't really fit in. Wear Terror is kind of whatever. Cards that are bad. Searing Blaze isn't great in this matchup. So maybe we go 4 Searing Blaze and bring in these ones. Going down 1 Chalice here kind of sucks. So I think the one land hand on the play is just too risky despite having some good cards. This hand's very mediocre, but we'll keep. It looks like they have. I was gonna say it looked like they might have Gemstone Cavern there. Do you have a subtlety? Looks like not. Dead gone. Okay, so it immediately dies. Do they have to fetch to deal with it? I don't usually play basic mountains. This is likely going to be fetch shock. This instant attacking since we know they have the dead gone. I could still have Force of Negation here, but I think we still have to Boros Charm them. Six points of burn in hand. Okay. Gonna move to combat. Take our 1 point of damage, see if they... That's why you never make the first move in situations like that. Okay. So they get to get some rhinos down. No, they have a Prismari command. Okay. They have Risk Factor as a card. Okay. You have Force of Negation? So we'll find out in a second. Yep, they do. Put you in Mystical Dispute. 1 card in hand. Technically correct play, but a little bit dangerous if we have Exquisite Firecraft in our deck, which we technically do right now. So okay. Not a card we can currently cast. Do you have a Violent Outburst? You do not. Okay, so opponent kept that hand purely on the basis of its ability to I think if they Risk Factor, we just take the damage. Yes, I will allow it to deal 4 damage to me. Not exactly the best card in the burn deck against the burn deck. Okay. It's going to be able to stop 2 burn spells with 1 card. Doesn't seem very likely. Alright. Still not a huge fan of Deflecting Palm. Don't really think Wear Tear does much. Sanctifier's not good. Smash has what? Maybe Shardless Agent as a target. I think I'll leave the 1 Deflecting Palm in my deck, even though I'm not. Actually, I probably should have just left a Searing Blaze in my deck over Deflecting Palm. Alright, this hand is pretty good for being on the play, but can easily get blanked by our opponent's good starts. So the only nice thing is they don't get the play with being on the draw and having Gemstone Cavern and being able to cascade onto, so. Alright, so they could have Dead Gone here, which is kind of whatever. Not going to sequence in a fancy way here. Yes, kind of a weird way to... Okay, and that has Force of Negation, which is very unfortunate. This is the problem with being on the draw, unfortunately. I mean, we could play the chicken game with like Fire Ice or whatever, but I think this is going to end up being we hit you for down to 10 and then you deploy some Rhinos. Okay, so they may still have Fire Ice for Goblin God. Or Stomp, sure. But we'll have a basic... Well, problem is with that fetch land, I think they only have shocks to get, so... I mean, they could have basic forest in hand. They're probably going to have to go to 8 here. Unless they have Basic Mountain in their deck, which they haven't. I guess they actually do have Basic Mountain, which is kind of unusual for Temur. Alright, we'll try Rolling Vortex. This is likely to get Force of Negation out of their hand. Force pitching Fire Ice. No good attacks. We already knew this was getting forced, so it's not a huge surprise. No, because they just have more Rhinos. That makes sense. Alright, so what is our realistic play line here? What would we have to draw next turn? We'd have to draw either Boros Charm or Exquisite Firecraft to win next turn, and that's if they don't have Force of Negation. We're on a 6 out of 48 outer, pretty much. Draw land. That was fun. We're here for match number 2. 5-lander, can't keep. 1-lander, really clunky hand, can't keep. This hand's good enough. Goes back. So one thing I want to remind everybody about Magic is have fun. There was a little bit of Twitter drama today, and it was just like one Magic player kind of wished ill upon another Magic player, so it was just like, you might want to like remember that we're supposed to have fun in this game, and even if you're doing it for a living or a side hustle, as there's a joke in one of the Magic things on Facebook, in the end it's a game. I sometimes struggle to remember that, you know, because you're putting umpteen dollars into these decks, and then you put dollars into playing the matchup, or into you know, playing events. Fire Ice, that's our dead gone, sure. Do you have the Force of Negation as well? You do not. Okay. This is why Roiling Vortex gets mained. That and the, you know, Cascade Bean decks and so many other things. So let's see. Opponent will take 5 here. Take 5 and put 10 power in play. Seems about right. Okay, takes 5. So we're not dead next turn, which means they're likely going to have to cast that other Crashing Footfalls, which may put us in a reasonable spot, perhaps. Gotta be mindful of how much damage I take with my land base here. Let's go with Skullcrack. They can't really afford to Force of Negation, which is nice. So put them in this weird situation if they can't kill us next turn, that they're actually going to die to Roiling Vortex. So Violent Outburst would be +3 damage. So they would deal us 10, 13. We'd take 14 during our upkeep. Okay. And we have Lightning Helix should anything go sideways here. It goes to 2. We have to cast Crashing Footfalls. And you die. Alright, stealing a game on the play was very important. I think this time I'm not going to bring in the one of Deflecting Palm. I think instead I'm going to leave the one of Searing Blaze in. It's not a terrible card, it's just not good. I mean, it's still a burn spell that does 3 damage, so I mean, you have that going for you. This hand is potentially very good. We have the one of Chalice Vortex combo. Now, they could have Foundation Breaker or any of those, kind of cards. So, gonna wait to play it in one turn. I'm gonna suspend Riftbolt first, not cast anything else. Okay. Guess we play Goblin God instead. Kind of awkward. Like it's a land. Do you have a dead gone? Just Catcher a Triumph, has a Wooded Foothills in hand. Now the question becomes is, do they have a double Force of Negation? Well, hello there. I mean, you gotta have Dead Gone, Fire Ice, Stomp, something. Sure. This will lead a Force of Negation, they're debating which card to pitch. Force of Negation, pitching Force of Negation. Okay, so they're cycling away the Alright, so good chance they just battle and outburst her here and we die, but that is for 8. Go to 6. If we draw another 1 mana burn spell like Spike, or does that change the equation? I don't think so. So we'll bolt them. Unless they cast some other free spell, we're just dead. Let's run the Flames of Anora variant. Deflecting Palm would have been lethal there, but then again, just about any reasonable burn spell would have been, you know, if we would have suspended Riftbolt on one, maybe that would have been better. Maybe Goblin Guy could have gone in at some other point. Kind of hard to say. Or we could have sequenced potentially differently. Does this hand realistically do? Suspend Riftbolt, and we'll try it. Oh, well, we lose. Opponent stole the play, which this is one of the things I was worried about. I wonder if they're going to try to Fire Ice us. Fortunately, we had a Bolt on hand, so could still potentially draw a Chalice here. Would be a decent one. Chalice. Chalice. You'll laugh if they have a second subtlety. Yep. Alright. So we get an 8 point of damage with our Monster Swift Spear. Then the 13. That goes to 12 here. Gets to play some Rhinos on turn 2. Alright, hope they don't have Force Negation. Opponent just flat out doesn't block. Okay. If they have Force of Negation and they didn't block here, I'm just going to laugh. Alright. Well, it depends on what their follow-up is. Okay, maybe we survive this turn, but I don't know that it particularly matters. Opponent does nothing, casts nothing. What is going on with our hand over there? This at least gives us the potential out of winning. If they have a way to kill us, so be it. Okay, 0-2 against Rhinos so far. All right. Match number 3 against Mono Red. We've got Mhyashi on the horn. So, long-time Mono Red player among many other things. Looks like he's on Mono Black instead. So I have no idea what he's on. I'm guessing there's like Field of Ruins in my future. Beyond that, Mhyashi. Okay, he just has a kill spell, which is fine. Pass. Just playing on Boros Charming here. Yep, there's the Field of Ruin that we suspected. So I don't want to aggressively fetch my basics if possible. Every time I play Mhyashi, he always seems to have the perfect card for the matchup. Nice to see things don't change. So puts Obosh in hand. I have no reason to fetch currently. Go ahead and pass. Maybe I'll play land Obosh here. Target player discards 2 cards. Fantastic. Suspend a Whiffed Bolt. What else does this nonsense do? Turn target creature, blah blah blah. I think we're just going to go face with Rift Bolt. Hope to get a little lucky here. How many cards does that require? Settles 5 other cards. Okay, so we're taking 6. Okay. So we're dead next turn. Draw a burn spell. So yes, I can play Double Goblin Guide and block, or block, but then we're just dead, or block. take 6, but then they go to 5. Yeah, we're just dead because of random nonsense stuff. Okay. So, what is Mhyashi playing now? Mhyashi. Okay. Mono white, mono red, mono white, mono black. Okay, so we're looking at Concealed Curtain, Graveyard Trespasser, Murderous Rider, black splash or green splash on the sideboard for Haywire Might. Wantu's Last Reckoning, Thoughtseize. Damage controlled on tap. So probably want Sanctifier, even if it's not the very best in this matchup. And then a couple copies of Path. These Vortexes are kind of middling, but okay as an anti-life gain thing. Searing Blaze kills a few things in their deck, but not like a super ton. Go with those. Haven't really played against any of the Cabal Coffers style decks, which this is kind of, but also not. It's possible I shouldn't bring in Sanctifier simply because of Demolition Field and Field of Ruin attacking my mana base. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. Okay, so does he play Fatal Push in his list? He does not. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and attack like that. Not use our Skewer the Critics this turn. Oh, so he does have Fatal Push. Alright. This is definitely not the Cat League we wanted to have. Graveyard Trespasser, just for funsies. Every time. Alright, so I'm going to do this, hoping to... Not exactly ideal, but we'll keep it. Kind of gotta hope to rip another fetch land or either a fetch land or a Sunbaked Canyon next turn, so we can start casting these Sanctifier and Vex. Yeah, we're not coming back from that. And every time I play Mhyashi, he always seems to beat me for whatever reason, so... Anyways, on to the next match. Alright, match 4. On the draw. Keep. 1, Polluted Delta, Shock in. We're up against Changeling combo. Could just be like rogues or something, but sure. Bolt makes the most sense here. Magda's the card we mainly gotta worry about. Okay. Two of these in actually import into path. Yeah, just dealt themselves. Fetch shock, thought seize, dealt themselves 5 points of burn damage against a burn deck. I mean, you see Suspend Rift Bolt, you don't guess thought seize usually. Alright. I found in these like friendly leagues you usually have like 2 to 3 tier decks and then 2 brews. See if they're a little more conservative with their life total this game. Apparently that answer is no. And they show us the very same Changeling, so it's quite possible this is not Magda combo and it's just some other tribal synergy. Sure. Seems logical. Force of negation, possibly. Chalice is a weird card against burn. Like, sometimes it's completely awesome, and sometimes it's just blanks a card or two. Like, burn is... Some burn hands are extremely affected by it, others just don't do a thing. Because burn's curve is usually 16, 16, 8. So Chalice is middling. Do they have shoulder tier? Or Chalice on 2? They have grief. Afraid I've got some bad news. They all kill you. Alright. On to match number 4. Alright. Match 5 on the draw. 1 lander. Kind of bit of a risk, but we could have kept it. I think we keep this hand. Book back. Skewer the critics. Suspend Rift Bolt on 1. Alright, Elf. So we're likely literally up against Elves. Apparently we were supposed to put back a land. Joking, by the way. I have seen 1 or 2 people on Elves, so... Question is, do I hit their mana or do I hit their War Master? feel like I just hit their mana with Searing Blaze. And pass. Opponent with looks like a mono green elf list. Is it actually possible that killing their mana dork was the right play? I know they have that new flash elf, but I believe it's double white. I don't even have to crack this fetch land here because of Yavimaya. Okay, now they get the Collected Company pile rolling. So, gotta be careful how we tap our mana, or when we tap our mana. Because they could have something like, not Heritage Druid, Essence Warden. Collected Company, Shocker of Shockers. Okay, opponent's gonna tap with a bunch of... Does that mean I have to kill this stupid Heritage Druid? I think it actually might. I don't like wasting burn spells on individual elves that aren't forwarding our game plan, but that gives them way too much mana to play with War Masters. So, leave Crown Visionary. Yep. It's one of the matchups where Eidolon used to really excel, but I think we're just going to be dead before we can do anything with this start. So, alright, and yep, we are dead. Is there any series of draws? No, there's nothing we can kill them from 11 for here. Alright, so Elves. Elves are all you need. Bring in 2 Path, go down to Vortex. Call the switch. I don't really like Path because, well, it gives the deck that's very mana hungry more mana. No land. Sand is very middling. Keep. Guess I'm putting back Vortex since it's the most middling here. Oh, fantastic. Guess I should have kept the Vortex. Because they gain a life for every time a creature enters the battlefield under their control. And it gives their creatures +1/+1. Or +0/+1. So we'll be bringing in Wear Terror in the next game. Maybe they'll chump block. I doubt it, but we might get lucky. Let's go ahead and kill their Elves. Should have done this. Should have done that main phase. Main phase 1, I meant. Okay. It goes to 10. Possibly we could have done that main phase, but... let's continue plunking our opponent. Mm-hmm. Certain blaze, please. Heyo. This is lethal. That's +4, so yeah, that is in fact lethal. All right. Guess we'll bring in the wear tears. Boiling vortex is kind of middling, but does prevent life gain? Question mark. Keep. Yep. Oh, okay, sure. All right. Mm-hmm. Aquarium Ranger. That does nothing but gain a life. Which, don't get me wrong, is relevant. Mm-hmm. Okay, once again, don't want to hand them mana, so we're just going to kill their elf. Hit them for 2. They're not Elvish Mystic. Mm-hmm. Land, please. Okay, so I have another Land War Elves, which is fine. Would ideally like to draw a land next turn. Doesn't really matter which one at this point. Excuse me. Okay. Land, please. I said land, not rolling vortex. But if I can't choke them on mana anymore, then just choke them on ice. Okay. Do you have collected company? Elf. Okay, Archdruid, sure. Land. Okay, then I'll get another land, which is fine-ish. Opponent might have to block if they suspect us of a bolt. Yeah, that's fine. Probably should have blocked Swift Spear then. But opponent has a fetch land in hand and 2 unknowns. Heritage Druid, go to 5. What's your last card? Apparently it's something you can cast. Or maybe you're cracking that to... Oh, it's definitely something you can cast. 3 mana. Another Archdruid. Yuzuri. Yuzuri. Okay, I'll start with this. It's the final countdown. Mm-hmm. Notably, Yuzuri cannot regenerate itself, and you are dead during my upkeep, or during your upkeep. So, what a bizarro league. All right. And got the 2-3 after the rough start. All right, so quick wrap. 2-3 league. I mean, we ran into Rhinos twice, which is a little bit of a dog, and then being on the draw didn't really help in those matchups. Mhyashi, his deck just had a lot of arbitrary life gain, Cling to Dust, Murderous Rider, Graveyard Trespasser. It's possible that if I would have sequenced potentially a little bit differently, we could have potentially killed him in one of those games, but kind of hard to say. And then the last two matchups, Elves has always historically been a good matchup for Burn. And then the other matchup was... I'm not entirely sure what they had going on. It was some type of blue-black, changeling, grief, I don't know, reanimator maybe. Hard to say. But, yeah, I mean, 2-3 finish, fairly solid. Or not solid, but, you know, we started 0-3, recovered, got the last two. Burn's in a weird place in the meta. Like, it has game against most of the meta, but it also is a dog in a good bit of the matchups. Whether it be Rhinos, whether it be Murktide, whether it be Scam, whether it be, you know, even worse matchups like Amulet. It does have a few positive-ish matchups, but it's very... Sometimes you'll do well with it, sometimes it'll be very middling. This was strictly aggregate burn, so strictly average burn with a strictly average result. What more could you want, right? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you like modern burn content, and hope to see you for next week's video.